Madison and I were about to hit our 5th year together, and she'd been acting like she had the perfect surprise lined up. Lots of mysterious smiles, late-night Pinterest scrolls, and that honey-sweet tone people use when they're desperately hiding something. On our actual anniversary morning, she handed me an envelope with a goofy little paper airplane sticker sealing it shut. "Open it after breakfast," she said, nudging a stack of blueberry pancakes toward me like I was a kid on Christmas. Inside sat a single JetBlue ticket, Chicago, Austin, departure in 2 days. My first reaction was pure confusion. No return flight, no hotel confirmation, just the one-way stub. Madison brushed flour off her cheek and explained it like this. I'd been burning out at work, the winter had been brutal, and I needed a hard reset. So she'd booked me a solo getaway. 3 or 4 days of food truck tacos, weird live music, and maybe some paddleboarding on Lady Bird Lake. She chirped, waving her mug like a cheerleader. She added that her parents had spare Southwest points in case I decided to extend the trip. Something about the whole pitch felt overly rehearsed, but I chalked the unease up to my own guilty conscience. I'd skipped our last planned vacation because of a product launch crunch. 2 days later, I was in an Uber at 4 a.m., bleary-eyed, letting the city lights strobe across the windows. Madison insisted on staying home to pack up the closet we'd been putting off, so I rolled solo to O'Hare. At the self-check-in kiosk, I tried to see if a return flight had been quietly attached to my name. Nope, still a one-way. The attendant raised an eyebrow, asked if I was sure everything looked correct. I shrugged, joking that my girlfriend apparently wanted me to go feral in Texas. TSA moved quickly at dawn, but each moment in line tightened this coil in my chest. By the time the plane taxied onto the runway, Austin's lights flickering somewhere ahead in the dark, I couldn't shake a thought that struck like icy water. Madison's college ex, Tyler, had moved to Austin last year after his divorce. I'd never met him, but his name popped up enough that I kept tabs. Casual jealousy, plus routine social media snooping. As the jet engines roared and the cabin rattled, the coincidence gnawed louder than the turbines. The wheels hit the Austin tarmac with that rubber squeal thud that makes everyone clutch their armrests for a heartbeat. My phone regained service and lit up with a single text from Madison. "Call when you land. Love you lots." It felt like a stranger had typed it. I barely glanced at the sunset glow over the hill country as we taxied. Every nerve was tuned to the baggage claim carousel, to locating a ride, to figuring out how fast I could reroute myself back home if this was, in fact, the messed-up puzzle it looked like. The terminal smelled of burnt espresso and floor wax. I weaved past a cluster of bachelorette party cowgirl hats and an entire high school robotics team before my brain slammed on the brakes. Leaning against a column near Carousel 2 was a guy with AirPods in and 2 battered Samsonite suitcases, the same gray set Madison and I had herded through O'Hare a dozen times. He was my height, gym trim, sporting a faded Longhorns hoodie. Even before he met my eyes, I recognized the face from late-night doom scrolls. Tyler Gates, Madison's college flame. He pulled one earbud, wore a smile so uneasy it bordered on a wince. "Hey Liam, right?" Voice already apologetic. I guess, surprise. Adrenaline crackled under my skin. "Why are you holding my wife's luggage?" "Technically ex-wife," he half laughed, then corrected himself with a sigh. "Look, Maddie told me she would have explained everything before you landed. I thought you two had talked, like really talked, about maybe combining households." My pulse pounded like snare drums. "We talked about adopting a corgi, that's it." Tyler exhaled, thumbed open his phone, and tilted the screen. The message thread with Madison ran so long it needed its own table of contents. The latest bubble read, "Flight lands 7:05. Wait near Carousel 2. Bring the bags so he understands we're serious." Concrete seemed to set inside my lungs. I called Madison. Voicemail. Called again. Voicemail. Third time, an automated subscriber unavailable tone that felt like a slap. Tyler nudged the suitcases toward me like a peace offering. "She flew me up to Chicago last week to pack her stuff. Said she's always wondered what life would be like if we all just lived together. She thinks you'll be cool once the shock dies down." I laughed. "Sharp, brittle?" "Sure. Nothing says healthy relationship like ambushing your husband at baggage claim with his replacement, plus a couple of checked bags." With no return ticket and no wife on the line, instinct flipped to autopilot. I opened TikTok, hit record, and let the airport fluorescence bleach every ounce of disbelief onto my face. Day 1 of my wife's self-care gift trip. Turns out it's a one-way ticket to her ex who's standing here with her suitcases. Internet, what should I do? I posted for the catharsis. Maybe 50 followers would see it. Shoving the phone in my pocket, I dragged my roller bag toward the rideshare exit. The Austin humidity smacked me as I stepped outside. 10 minutes later, while the driver tossed my luggage in the trunk, my screen blew up. 500, 1,000, 2,000 likes, comments pouring in. Bro, livestream this, lawyer up, plot twist of 2025. The algorithm had sunk its teeth in, and Madison's grand experiment was already bleeding out for millions to watch. By the time my rideshare started rolling up I-35, TikTok comments were detonating faster than notifications could stack. So many green screen stitches that my phone warmed like a pocket heater. Influencer lawyers offered free consults. A divorce podcast DM'd for a guest spot. Even Delta joked in my comments that they had plenty of round-trip fares if I needed an exit strategy. 20 minutes later, I stepped into a budget motel room off Riverside, sat on the sagging bedspread, and let the ceiling fan chop the silence while I scrolled. The clip, barely 40 seconds, had passed 2 million views. Internet sleuths were pulling LinkedIn screenshots of Madison, graduation pics of Tyler, Zillow links for our Chicago condo. One creator did a live dramatic reading of their text thread, thanks to Tyler, who dumped a screen record into my DMs. And the chat erupted with popcorn emojis. I finally got a text from Madison at 9:42 p.m. Liam, I see the video. Please delete it. You know how the internet twists things. No apology, no explanation, just brand management panic. I typed and erased a dozen replies before settling on, hard reset going great, thanks. I hit send and muted her. Around midnight, I cracked open the minibar Dr. Pepper, propped my phone against the lamp, and went live. My followers count had surged past 180K, mostly strangers begging for an update. I kept the camera chest up, voice even. She wanted to bring her divorced ex into our house like it was a social experiment. She booked us one-way flights in opposite directions. Me south, him north. No conversation, no consent. So yeah, internet, I'm crowdsourcing my next move. Comments waterfalled. File for separation. Change the locks. Therapy. Solo, not couples. Someone suggested I Venmo fund a ticket home. In 2 minutes, I had $340 in small donations labeled escape tax. I booked the first flight to Chicago at 6 a.m. Dawn painted the motel curtains peach. At the airport, I slung my carry-on into the plastic bin, still live streaming, phone face down through security per TSA rules. On the other side, I flipped the camera and found 73,000 viewers waiting. Plot twist, I said. We're doing this in real time. Mid-flight Wi-Fi sputtered, but the moment we landed, I reconnected to a storm. Madison had posted her own rebuttal video. Ring light confession backdrop, tears glistening. She called the plan a poly-family trial run, insisted she'd misjudged my openness, and begged the internet not to cancel her. The comments weren't kind. Brands she collaborated with announced pause on partnerships. A mutual friend texted, dude, she's barricaded in the condo, paparazzi wannabes are outside. I grabbed a taxi, angle low, filming city blur. When we pulled up, news vans dotted the curb like chess pieces. I walked the gauntlet, hood up, suitcase rattling, and keyed in. Inside, half-packed boxes lined the hall. Madison sat on the floor by the couch, mascara crescent moons under her eyes, phone buzzing like a cicada. She looked up, hope flickering. We can still fix this. I set my phone, camera off for the first time in 12 hours. Madison, I said, voice flat. I came back for my passport, my guitar, and my grandma's photo albums. After that, you can finish your experiment with whomever volunteers. A beat of silence, only the fridge hummed. And the internet? They're just witnesses. The real story is what you did when nobody was supposed to be watching. Her sob caught in her throat, half plea, half realization. I packed in measured silence. When I wheeled my life out the door, the hallway seemed lighter, like stale air finally vented. I hit record one last time on the elevator ride down. Not revenge, not clout, just closure. Day 2, I told the lens. Turns out the reset was mine all along.